What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's episode of The Sports Sermon. We are brought to you by Scooch, the most functional phone case on the market. Check out ScoochCase.com to get yours today and use the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z, of course, to get a 10% discount on your order. Stay tuned till the end for a special Scooch giveaway as well. But now, today's episode.
And welcome inside the Sports Sermon. I am Dylan Staggy, here today with Jason Gandhi and Dan Majors. And we are back today for another NFL team preview. And today we are talking about the Atlanta Falcons, who a year ago finished their season at 10-6, won a playoff game versus the Rams, and lost to the Eagles in the next round, the eventual Super Bowl champions. And bring back much of the same squad that they did a year ago, looking to get back to the Super Bowl. But one thing they did struggle at last year was the red zone, and one thing that they did a lot better in the Super Bowl season also. Do you guys think the Falcons can get back to being a top-scoring offense in 2018?
So, I really do. Julio only scored 3 times last year, which was definitely a fluke. It was also the first year under Steve Sarkisian. That is very important to remember because it wasn't like they've had this guy for 5-6 years. Kyle Shanahan left. It was Sarkisian's first year, and they add Calvin Ridley. This offense could be humming again. Think about it. Calvin Ridley could be the 5th option on this team. That's crazy. Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper, Tevin Coleman, and then Calvin Ridley. Passing game.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Like in the passing game, he could be the 5th option. This offense is loaded, and I love them this year.
Yeah, I agree, Jason. That was a fluke in the red zone, as Julio was one of the biggest threats in the league, and I think they just had an odd year in the red zone. They pick up Ridley, who could really help some too. They were still top 10 in total offense, even with the red zone struggles. So expect that and more this year as one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely a lot depends on Steve Sarkisian, like Jason mentioned. I really like Calvin Ridley. He has a lot of talent, and I think even though he could be the 5th option to start out the season, I think he could be the 2nd by the end. And there's lots of room for improvement in the red zone. Both Julio and Austin Hooper should be bigger red zone targets this season for the Falcons. Mm-hmm. Let's shift over to the defensive side. The defensive line lost a few important pieces this offseason. Are you concerned?
So I'm not at all. They let Adrian Claiborne walk to open the door for Takk McKinley. They moved Vic Beasley back to the line full-time, and Grady Jarrett will get paid probably before the season starts. Dontari Poe wasn't incredibly dominant last year. They don't lose much when he leaves. They only had 2.5 sacks. I like the defense. I'm excited to watch Beasley back rushing the passer the entire time, because when he did that, they had one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, I'm definitely concerned, but I look for a guy like Deidre Sennett to step up in his rookie season and do fine. It's concerning based on how unproven they are, but I think they could be just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I am concerned a little bit. I do like Vic Beasley coming back as a full-time pass rusher, but Takk McKinley is definitely unproven, and probably going to be a downgrade from Claiborne a season ago. And then Deidre Sennett.
McKinley already had 6 sacks, was second on the team in sacks, without getting to be like the full-time starter. I don't think it's that much of a downgrade at all.
Yeah, I mean, we never really see him as a full-time starter, though, so...
Yeah, that's my point. If he had 6 when he wasn't a full-time starter, he's going to be fine when he's a full-time starter. Like, he could get 10, 12, whatever. Like, he's a heck of a player. We saw that last year all the time.
I'm really concerned about the defensive tackles, though. Between Deidre Sennett and Grady Jarrett, I don't think they're going to form a great defensive tackle duo this season.
I mean, Grady Jarrett is one of the best players in all of the league emerging as a defensive tackle spot.
I'm still not.
He is. I mean, Deidre Sennett, I agree. He's a guy that's he's a rookie. Hopefully he steps up. But Grady Jarrett is emerging as one of the better defensive tackles in this league. He's not somebody that worries me.
Right. You'll have to see. Let's shift over back to the offensive side, though, and talk about Matt Ryan. Do you guys think he is a top 10 quarterback and enough to lead them back to the Super Bowl?
Yes. He had a down year after the MVP. after the MVP season, but that was expected with new OC Steve Sarkisian. He still ended up leading his team to the second round and is the fastest quarterback to 40,000 yards. He is no doubt a top 10 quarterback for me.
Yeah, he is definitely a top 10 quarterback for me. Last year, it's easy to notice the change from his MVP season, but also last year, his increase in interceptions came from 7 dropped or tipped passes from his receivers, who led the league in drop passes. We all know about Julio not scoring last year, too. It was more of a fluke than something to worry about. I trust Sarkisian to get this offense humming, and for me, this team is a second-tier talent in the NFC, right below the top 3 of the Rams, Eagles, and Vikings. They're number 4 for me. I think this team is going to be fantastic.
I think Matt Ryan is a top 10 QB, and every other year it seems like he has a down year. Last year was his down year, so this should be a good one for Matt Ryan if he keeps going on that. I have them a tier below the Eagles, Vikings, and Rams, also like you, Jason, but they should definitely be able to compete if they can get into the playoffs. It's definitely going to be a tight race in the NFC, but let's get into that. I want to hear your guys' record prediction, their place in the division, and whether the Falcons make the playoffs.
So I have them finishing first in the division. Yes, they make the playoffs, obviously. I have them going 10-6. After opening the season with a Thursday night meeting against the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles, the Falcons enter a stretch that could go a long way toward piling up those victories. They start off after that home against Carolina and New Orleans, and then they get Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, and New York. Those 3 teams all had down years last year. If they get just those 5, you're already at 5 wins. Then you get Washington, Cleveland, Baltimore, Arizona, and Tampa Bay again to get more wins. I don't see a way this team finishes below 10 wins.
Yeah, so I really like the Falcons this year, but this is a very competitive NFC.
Especially NFC South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they finish as the first team out in the NFC. I'm going 9-7, finishing third in the division.
I've
got to ask you then, okay, so if they're the first team out, so you do have 2 teams in from this division, though? Yep. Okay, that was my question.
I also have them at 9-7, second place in the division, though, and no playoffs for the Falcons for me. Really? Although there is some easy games in the Falcons' schedule, they also have some really tough road games at Philadelphia, at Pittsburgh, at New Orleans, at Green Bay, at Carolina.
I mean, they have to go to New Orleans and Carolina every year. That's not
special. I mean, they're still really tough games.
I mean, yeah, but even if they split those and they lose those other games you just mentioned, that's 5. They can go 11-5.
But then they have to win the rest of those games too. I mean,
yeah, the ones are they're not hard. You get Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, New York, Washington, Cleveland, Dallas, Baltimore, Arizona, Tampa Bay. Those are all very winnable games.
I mean, they should beat all of those teams, but
so yeah, then that's why I'm giving them a game to lose, 10-6.
But I mean, it just doesn't happen that way all the time, though.
I just don't see how this team doesn't make the playoffs. Like they were bad last year, made the playoffs. Like we all talked about that. They didn't play good and they made the playoffs. I don't see how they don't make the playoffs, and we all think they're going to be better.
I think the Bucs take a step forward this year.
How big of a step, Dan?
Pretty big.
Really?
Pretty big step.
Talk about it. What do you mean?
Well, how about we get into that in the podcast?
Yeah, check out our Bucs podcast. Yeah. Well, we got to know. So there's no way the Falcons made the playoffs because
I just said they're the first team out, and it's a very
I'm saying
I think there's a very good shot they make the playoffs, but I don't have them. I really think they if they're in the AFC, they probably win a division.
Our top 3 seed.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I got you.
All right. Any last thoughts on the Falcons?
Nope.
All right. And that's all we've got for today. Make sure you check out the rest of our NFC South podcast and the rest of our NFL podcasts. We have them all out now, and our playoffs podcast where we go through every single our predictions for the entire season. It'll be a really fun one. I promise you that. In the intro, Jason mentioned Scooch. That code SPORTS18 for 10% off. We're going to make that 15% off at scoochcase.com. And if you want to be entered into a contest to win a free Scooch Wingman case, comment on the video below and subscribe to us on any of our platforms, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. That's all we've got for today, and we will see you very soon.